What up, though? Today I want to talk about something that expands on the ideas from our last two videos about mindfulness and the three difficulties. And that's how to bring single pointed concentration to the five senses in anything that we're coming in contact with. This is stepping out of the esoteric, more of the internal dialogue, and into the exoteric, and explaining how not only do we influence our environments, but how our environments influence us. That's twofold. A, because it's really, really helpful to be able to concentrate on anything with the same veracity you do your breath. And B, because if you're trying to go into the next tier and learn to visualize, one of the best things you can do is learn how to recall scenes in all of their entirety through your five senses and have what is known as euphoric recall, where you can bring back complete details beyond just seeing it in your head. So if you'd like to know more about this, then rock me a minute as we take the journey within. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Justin. Welcome back to the Mystical Mind State. So, when we think of mindfulness and mindfulness meditation, we tend to just think of single point of concentration being something related to the breath or to a mantra or things of that nature. But it's not common practice for us to think of what we smell or what we touch or what we taste for that matter or what we hear. I know mantras kind of play into that, but if you really, really, really want to up your IQ and go into the next level, it is absolutely paramount that you learn to recall details that are taken in through your five senses. Two reasons. The mind processes about 400 billion bits of information per second, and we take in about 4,000 bits that form reality as we see it. People who have developed their internal dialogue as it pertains to the external tend to have more developed frontal lobes, larger processing centers to take this data in, and they start using areas of their brain that were otherwise dormant. And when you start getting into the higher states of consciousness and some of that, it is really, really important that you have a solid framework for that. And sensory meditation is the perfect segue into that. This isn't anything really difficult. Like if you're looking at this intermediary stage and it feels a bit daunting, trust me, I'm not a guru. I'm not a lama. I'm not a rabbi of old. You know, I'm a regular guy who found God in all things and is telling people about it. So don't let that get in your way. I'm going to put it in layman's terms that are very, very simple. If I can grasp it, you can definitely grasp it. So, you know. Now, for me, nature will forever be my temple. That's where I feel at most home. It's where I'm most in tune with God. It's where I just happen to see the awe in creation itself, right? So a lot of these are techniques that I use when I'm in nature, but that doesn't mean that they have to be confined to nature alone. Really, wherever you're most comfortable would be a great place to start. But for me, I walk along in the woods for quite some time and just kind of take in the scene, get used to being there, smell the flowers, enjoy the cool breeze on my face, hug trees. I mean that literally. But eventually I'll segue off of a trail and I'll find an area that just speaks to me, seems like a calm and serene place to go. And then I start working on putting together sensory data. What I mean by that is just sit simply in a meditative posture and get comfortable. Come into your breath, follow through the nostrils, the throat, the chest, into the lungs until you feel your diaphragm expand, and then follow it out. Just do that for a couple of rounds until you're grounded and centered and at peace with that place. Now, to develop your visualization, it's actually really, really simple. Like literally just look in front of you, see the scene, and then close your eyes and recreate that scene to the best of your ability in all of the detail you can. And then open your eyes and look around to see how good you are, and close your eyes until you can bring it down to the most minute detail. With enough practice, you can do this. And the really cool thing about that is later, you can be at your house and you can actually recall that photograph that you put into your mind from that place you were at. And then the easiest thing to segue into from there is your sense of smell. I was out by Lake Catherine in Arkansas, and I had this really profound experience with all the pine trees that were there. A, who doesn't like the smell of pine? B, like it was just a very, very peaceful place because it was almost untouched by humankind. So you just focus on the pine the way you would your breath, and you just feel it enter into your being, follow it down and follow it out. And you continue doing this until you're at one with the pine. Now, the interesting thing in this is after a while, you start to become aware of where the different pine trees are without actually looking at them. You just sense them because you're tuning in. And it's one of the most prolific experiences a mystic can have. So I definitely recommend checking that out. Now, from there, you can move on to your sense of hearing, right? And just focus on the wildlife that's in the area, the birds, insects. The sound of the air as it rushes through the trees, which is beautiful because you're really getting an interplay of like fire, air, water, earth. Like the four elements become very, very acute in your mind when you're doing things like this. Well, also can be taken back with you into your meditative posture at home. Because once you can visualize, smell, and hear the sounds of where you were, and you're recreating this place, you are literally creating a sacred space within yourself that you can retreat to. From there, you don't even have to open your eyes. You can just simply feel around and find a rock or a stick or anything that just happens to be around your general area. Pine cones, it doesn't really matter. But take it and just feel the contours of its edges. And as you do that, paint the picture in your mind. Like, get its basic shape. Feel along it for any ridges that it may have or divots. And then recreate those in your mind. Continue to feel this piece until you have a clear and precise image of what you think it looks like. And then open your eyes and kind of check to see where you're at with it, you know. But this will really help you learn to put things together, shapes, sacred geometry, and a lot of the wisdom of the Near East plays in on this. Certain mandalas are completely geometric in their shapes. So if you can learn to kind of decipher the Fibonacci sequences and things that are in nature naturally, then you can recreate them in your mind later. But moreover, you'll become more in tune with how touching things brings certain things into your being. Rosicrucians call this vibraturgy. I won't touch on that. Like, if you really want to know about it, just join a work and follow their school of philosophy, and they'll tell you all about it, secrets and whatnot. But there's an unbroken lineage that says that the things that we take in through our senses absolutely affect our internal dialogue, and it's up to us to find out how. This brings us to the sense of taste. This obviously isn't something that happens in the same meditative state, but when you're eating food, not just the texture, not just the feel once again, but the taste, the sweetness, the essence of whatever fruit or vegetable it may be that you're eating has a lot to teach us. With enough practice, you can learn to kind of take in the environments that they came from. Were they raised with, love and care, or just processed randomly in a factory? I know it seems crazy to say that, but eventually you will be able to tell the difference because you were picking up the emotional patterns that were imprinted by other human beings or by nature itself. But these are all phenomenal ways to become more in tune with your external environment. And now I'm going to give you some practical things that you can do, like in your regular settings. Say you work construction and you mix a lot of concrete. When you pick up the bag of concrete, like, you get to feel the concrete. You feel the weight of it as it's on your shoulders. You walk it over to your bucket, right? When you pour it, it hits your sensory dialogue and you smell it, right? As you stir it, you feel your muscles moving. So you have all of this data that's coming into your mind. And if you just concentrate on those moments, if you just come into them, you're really upping your ability to concentrate and be present in the present moment. Be here now, Ram Das, yada yada. If you're a chef, if you do what I do and you cook for a living, you're around food all the time. Like, cutting cilantro is one of my favorite things to do because cilantro has a very, very distinct odor, right? So as I'm chopping this cilantro, like, I'm taking it in and I'm really, really vibing with it. Now, what I do is use Samek Aleph Lamed. It's bringing prosperity to other people. And praise be to God, of whose abundance we have eaten. So, like, as I'm chopping these vegetables, I'm holding the image of this particular set of triplets in my mind, and I'm saying this Samek Aleph Lamed over and over again. And just really being in the moment with that particular herb. The same can be done with any vegetable. But moreover, you can feel the weight of the knife, and you can feel you know, the sounds of the kitchen, like you really start seeing how all this triggers dialogue, and you find that Zen moment, and no matter what you're doing. Now, I say all that because if you can grasp this, if you can really, really get a firm understanding of this, then you're ready to start recreating places in the astral plane. You're ready to start constructing your temples within. And that's when meditation moves beyond the theoretical and into the metaphysical. And I definitely will be getting into that in the next video. So if you want to know more about that, stay tuned because it's coming. But for now, that's all I got, guys. Peace.